One particular incident, actually, it was Jacob Coopman, which is one of our most established buskers, was singing an Ed Sheeran song on Grafton Street one day, and all his equipment completely broke down as he was playing. But the crowd took over, and there was like a huge crowd circled around him, and they all sang the whole song while he was trying to fix his equipment. And that video got up to like 25 million views, So it was just such a magical moment. But there's so many magical moments on Grafton Street.
Hello and welcome to my podcast. I'm Tanya Corliss, and today let's talk about their talented people, about people who would like to bright up. And I have a guest, King of Ireland, Sean. Hi, Sean.
Thank you so much for introducing me as the King of Ireland. I respond really, really well to that. So thanks.
I love it. Anyway, you didn't introduce yourself like that, and I think it's great because you, in my opinion, are King of Irish musician. You person who helped them to bright, and let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, I know I had said to you, but a little earlier on, I respond well to being called the King of Ireland and stuff, But I'm the king of my world anyway. I'm Dublin City today, so I'll take that.
Where's the crown then?
The crown, I left it at home because it kind of messes up my hair a little bit.
I need to polish it a bit.
And I needed to look my best today, so I just...
Your makeup is pretty good.
Yeah, well, Jasmine's at home polishing the crown, keeping it nice and clean before I get back there.
Great. So let's people to understand who you are and a little bit about your background. So where they come from, the idea.
Right, okay. So I'm from Dublin. I was born in the city centre, just right next door to Guinness's warehouse, And I grew up all around Dublin, and I created Dublin City Today, the channel, in 2018. It was actually the 5th of June, 2018.
Wow.
I was supposed to be setting it up on the 6th of June because the 6th of June is my birthday.
Oh.
And I had a couple, because I was kind of celebrating a little bit early, and I had a couple of drinks and I got the time wrong. So the channel was supposed to be actually created on the 6th of June, but I got there a little bit early.
Okay.
At about 10 to 12 or something like that. So it ended up being the 5th of June. So now I celebrate two birthdays, one on the 5th of June for Dublin City Today and one on the 6th of June for myself. So it worked out pretty good, actually, And the channel is basically, I promote all the buskers of Dublin City.
And what inspired you to do this?
That's a very good question. I was kind of thinking I wanted to find a way of serving people of Dublin,
Which way serving?
But that's the thing, I didn't know how I was going to serve, but I just kind of wanted to promote Dublin because I love Dublin, and people of Dublin. And I just wanted to promote Dublin. And so I kind of thought, okay, I'm going to create a YouTube channel, and I'm going to go out and record random stuff that's happening on a particular day. It could be a flower show. It could be somebody doing poetry. It could be a protest. It could be anything that's going on in the city on a particular day. So I went out with a Galaxy tablet that was sellotaped together, a really bad one that I didn't really know how to use. And I went out and I just started recording random things. But every day I would walk down Grafton Street as part of the process, and I began to notice that there was some really, really talented musicians on the street, but they were a little different. They were younger than usual. They were all very, very young and very, very talented, and there was a great community going on. And so it kind of evolved towards that more,
Okay, and your background as work, did you work somewhere before you left your work to do this, or how's it happened, or you just inspire yourself to find something new?
I never did anything like this. In fact, when I was setting up the channel, I'd asked my brother, I was like, okay, how do I set up a YouTube channel? And he was like, well, you have to have an email address. And I was like, how do I set up an email address?
Okay.
I knew nothing about any of it, Like my background, like at the time I was actually going to acting school, the Gaiety School of Acting at the time. I did all sorts of different jobs and everything as well. But I didn't know anything about YouTube. I didn't know anything about cameras. I didn't know anything about anything, really.
Who helped you?
Nobody really. Like
you just learned from scratch.
I just learned from scratch, and kind of went from there, And
well done.
I was pretty common. Everybody else thought I was crazy. Like when I was like, yeah, I'm going to set this channel up. It's going to be really successful and really big. And they were like, yeah, but you don't know anything about YouTube, and you don't know anything about anything you're doing. But I was convinced 100% that it was going to work. So Yeah, so
That's amazing. No, I wouldn't know many people who will do that just for somebody, not for themselves, if you get me. It's very kind of great.
yeah, well, it was kind of at the time, to be honest. I was doing different jobs, but it was kind of meaningless.
Okay.
I wasn't getting any satisfaction out of doing anything really, and I kind of thought like I just wanted to find a way of like serving other people, and I've always kind of because I worked as a healthcare assistant.
Okay.
Also, I worked with people with Alzheimer's and dementia, that need special care, and I did a lot of that. So I've always kind of enjoyed serving people,
Yeah, but would you say when you was working as a care assistant, right? You had a stable job, and then you decide, okay, now it's time for me because I feeling I needed to do this. You moved to do this, working on the platform, create the YouTube channel, and help other one in a different way. It's probably was so. I believe it was so hard at the time when you just don't have that's what you had before, job and maybe community, and you step to somewhere what actually not existing yet.
Yeah.
How you recover or cover up yourself, because it probably was so challenging.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just gave up everything and decided to live off savings and just took the gamble, and I just kind of thought, I'm doing it. I'm giving up everything and I'm doing this. And there was no safety net or anything, it was just a huge gamble. And like I say, everybody thought I was crazy. They were like, this is not rational. What you're doing is not rational. You're giving up everything for something that doesn't even exist,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the time, when I was telling people it was going to be hugely successful, I had 60 subscribers. That's 60 subscribers. So it was a gamble. It was a risk, but I had no doubts in my mind. I was 100% positive it was going to happen. So I was really excited and enthusiastic.
Yeah.
There was like I wasn't worried about it at all.
That's magnificent. Honestly, I am so impressed with what you're saying, and you have done this, and now this is platform, very successful platform in Dublin City, and the platform is called Dublin City Today. Is
Yeah,
correct.
Dublin City
So,
Today.
if think about this platform, can you explain how Dublin City Today works for both musician and the audience nowadays?
Yeah. Well, I should go back a little bit and say that, like, when I began the channel, like I said, it was about random things. And then once I noticed the busking that was going on, something very special was happening around Grafton Street. And then that November, I made it specifically just the busking channel. I gave up covering other stuff, and I was like, right, we're just focusing on buskers. And so to get to your question there, ask that again quickly.
Again, how it works? This is a platform. How does it work for both as a musician and the audience?
Yeah.
How it's
Yeah. Well, with the musicians, with the buskers, how it works is I record a video of the buskers. I post it on the channel, and I put all of their social media links, including PayPal, Revolut, YouTube, Instagram, whatever links they have, I put it in the description of the video. So my purpose is to build up their audience, on their online audiences, build their platforms, build them an audience, so that over time they can start to become a little bit more independent. They can get their own channels monetized, start making money from there. They can start promoting their own original material and
fantastic.
stuff like
Well
that.
done.
And so I do interviews with them as well, and community posts to push whatever they're doing. So it's just that we use a Dublin City Today platform because it's such a large audience to build up other people's platforms and build their audiences for them.
To help basically each one who involved in this on the platform, the helping each other and help for the future generation to grow as well.
Absolutely. They're also helping the music industry, financially helping the music industry. They support the music industry because, say, if one of the buskers sings an Ed Sheeran song, well, whoever owns the rights to that song get paid royalties from the ads. So the established artists whose songs they're singing are getting paid also, so it's a win-win really for everybody involved.
Okay, but if think for the future, what's benefit would be for the future? Still the same one, or the vision will be changed?
Sorry, which?
If think about the benefits for the musician who's on the platform at the moment, think for the future. It will be the same benefit to grow and build some audience, or it's going to be different vision?
Well, for them.
For them.
For them, yeah. Like, they will build their audience and maintain their audience. And other things happen from it as well, because a lot of the buskers will get contacted by people who watch the videos to do gigs and to do concerts and to do venues and stuff like that, to get all sorts of offers for all sorts of different things, even like for the Eurovision and for other stuff like that, And like I said, then they build their audience. But like the Dublin City today can only do so much and get them so far, where they also need to be working on their vision, their dream, on their plan, really,
Okay. Okay.
to move forward, And then Dublin City today is there to help them to promote whatever plan they're coming up with or
Okay,
whatever,
got you. But how do you select them? Do you help everybody who knock to your door, or?
Well, I'll go around and like I've learned over the last couple of years really is like I kind of have to stick with more with who has the equipment, because if a busker comes out and their equipment is really bad, like a really bad amplifier or whatever, I can record a video of them and put it up, but the chances that the audience are going to come to listen to it a second time, because they'll listen to it the first time and go, well, that's that person with that bad amp. I can't,
Okay, yeah.
So you really need to have good audio
To be able to perform.
decent to get onto the channel, because on YouTube, like you can, you might even get away with grainy visual footage, but your audio has to be on point. It has to be good, especially for singing or anything like that. The music, the quality has to be good. So, but generally, I pick whatever's out there. I don't kind of think this person's really good, they need to be on there. This person's really bad, they can't be on there. I let the audience decide who they like and who they don't like. So I give everybody pretty much a fair go. I try to keep it, because I post daily, so that's once a day, 7 days a week. And I generally will post male, female, male, female, male,
okay.
female. So I try to keep the gender balance there, 50-50 as much as I can.
Fantastic.
We have some amazing female talent out on the streets. They're doing absolutely brilliantly. So the girls are doing great, and it's great to see, because I remember growing up, it was mostly males. It'd be like 95% males out busking on the street performing. And that's changed hugely over the last few years. There's a lot more females coming out now, realizing the benefits to being able to build your own platform by playing on the streets and stuff like that.
Would you say they make enough money to survive, or they make money to build something else?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these buskers that are making a good living.
Oh, good, fantastic.
Because they're not just busking; they're doing gigs as well.
On top of that, okay.
And they're getting booked for doing venues. Like I say, then they have their own platform monetized and stuff, and so and because of the generation they are, they're really good at the technical side of stuff.
They're helping to each other. I know.
Social media, they're pretty good at it.
If you talk about the local authorities, how they help or stop, or what they impact.
The local authorities, which would be Dublin City Council, they brought out the licensing. Would have been about 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay.
And there was a little bit of resistance to that at the time, and people were kind of curious about how that was going to work out. But it turned out to be really good, the licensing. So now buskers need a license.
And how they can get it?
They can go to Dublin City Council website, and they can look up the licensing for busking, and they'll buy a license. I think it's 75 a year or 95 a year.
And you ban for a year?
For a year.
Okay.
And one license allows you also to be able to sell your own CDs on the street as well,
fantastic.
Which is really, really good. So it's a reasonably priced license. And also then on Grafton Street, there will be certain spots for busking. So you can't just busk anywhere. There's designated spots. You can only play there. So it's from 11 a.m. till 11 p.m. You can only busk in the same spot once in a day, and you have to move on. So there's these certain regulations which are actually good.
It's very fantastic, yeah.
It's good because of the fact that, like, years ago, you could have a busker would turn up and take this spot for hours,
I know what you mean, yeah.
And other people would kind of have to wait, and they're like, come on. So now everybody gets the same amount of time, and kind of have to move on. So, which creates less confrontation between the buskers. So that kind of helped to kind of gel the buskers more together, because they didn't have anything.
It's community.
Yeah, exactly. Because there was nothing to bring them into conflict with each other. Because there was certain rules.
Yes,
so it actually helped to bring them together a little bit.
And who's control their rules? They follow the rules. Who check this?
Yeah, there's the inspectors. So Dublin City Council have inspectors.
Okay.
And those inspectors will go around, they'll check on the licenses to make sure that they're okay, they're up to date. And they will also have a meter. So they'll check on the sound. There's a certain decibel you can't go over. You can't be too loud because the people in the shops
Yes,
don't
okay.
need
Yes,
headaches
yes.
all day
Yeah,
long,
okay. It's true.
you
Yeah.
know. So
Especially before Christmas.
yeah, exactly, And if you have somebody that's not fantastic and they're playing outside your shop loudly, it's not a whole lot of fun, So and the inspectors are pretty cool, they're good guys,
Okay, fantastic.
and I get on well with them also, So I think it's a good system. I think a lot of other countries could follow suit, also follow the model that's been set up by Dublin City Council.
Well done. And do you have any collaboration with other cities or internationally?
No, not at the moment. I'm not collaborating with any other cities or anything. Like I had pondered it, and I had lots of ideas to expand into other areas, but then I was finding I was being pulled away from the busking community here in Dublin,
Okay,
which because I was getting busy elsewhere, like even going to Galway and doing a bit
okay.
up there. It's kind of like I'm here to promote the Buskers of Dublin,
I got you.
and I kind of have to stay focused. So I have a very, very narrow kind of focus and a narrow
At the
vision,
moment.
for the moment, and so they get all my time really.
Okay. If thinking about nice stories, like for example, today when I just coming over to the studio, on Lewis, the kids from school start singing the songs, Christmas songs. Oh my God, atmosphere on Lewis was absolutely fantastic. People clapping, people singing along together. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So do you have any stories to share? Give an example, successful story that happened with your buskers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
yeah.
you can call names as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's like one particular incident. Actually, it was Jacob Coopman, which is one of our most established buskers, was singing an Ed Sheeran song on Grafton Street one day, and all his equipment completely broke down
Oh,
as he was playing. But the crowd took over, and there was like a huge crowd circled around him, and they all sang the whole song while he was trying to fix his equipment. And that video got up to like 25 million views, So it was just such a magical moment. But there's so many magical moments on Grafton Street.
happening.
I mean, so many. It's just amazing, an amazing place,
And do you have an example, again, just straight away in the head, of your buskers who just play on the street and then you help them to grow up and they work hard to grow their own audience and platform, and now they're maybe getting as famous or very popular singers or musicians?
Yeah. I mean, we've had Sive Skelly, who started. I remember when she first started. She was kind of nervous, and she had this pink guitar, and she was very young and kind of just new to the whole thing, And now I see her; she's signed to a record label, and she's going on to do amazing things.
Fantastic.
Ro Burns similarly. Layla Jane was invited on to represent for the Eurovision Song Contest and stuff like that from one of her videos, and so loads of stuff has happened for a lot of them from being on the channel, getting recognition and stuff like that,
It's amazing. My God, guys, can you imagine you just start playing on the street and then eventually with such a helpful person who just look after you and help to move and grow, you will become somebody big. You're already big. Don't get me wrong. You're already big, but help you to bright
Yeah,
on
well,
the sky. Dublin City.
well, we definitely that's the mission of the channel, is to help and support the buskers in any way that we possibly can, and like just to build up their own platforms and to get their name out there and to give them also some confidence and stuff. And there's also they can every single busker I come across has my number, so if they ever need any kind of advice or help or anything, they can just shoot me a text.
Directly.
You know what I mean? At any
Wow.
time, so yeah, so it's good for them. So I would recommend to any young musician who's thinking about come out and get on to Dublin City today
And try.
Yeah.
Okay, if think about the mission and values, okay, because in my opinion, I could be wrong. When platforms grow, and maybe the mission and values could be changed. Why? Because it's more people involved, different vision, different demanding, different maybe, I don't know, expectation will coming up. So from your point of view, from what you do at the moment, are you trying to keep and stay with the same mission and values, or you are flexible to maybe expand in this direction?
I mean, I'm pretty narrow with it, Yeah, the mission is kind of pretty much stay the same, really. You know, it's about promoting the Buskers of Dublin. And the great thing about Dublin City today is there's not that many people involved, really, or at making the decisions. It's just me, the king.
Okay.
You know,
The King of
the
Ireland.
king of Ireland. You know, so it's easy for me to keep the mission on point. You know, like things will expand over time, but the fundamental mission is always going to be pretty much
The
the
same.
same. You know,
Okay.
it's just keeping it very, very simple. You know, and yeah, just keeping it very, very simple.
Very strange question I have to ask you.
Good.
So, for example,
Yeah.
tomorrow we get sick. Who will cover you?
Jasmine, my girlfriend. Yeah.
Okay, she's
Jasmine's well.
your right hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Jasmine's trained up in everything, and
Okay.
if ever anything were to happen to me, Jasmine would take over everything, and it would be
Looking
like,
after people.
Yeah, it'd be like I never really mattered.
Okay.
You know, yeah, Jasmine would take care of everything. Yeah.
What has been the most rewarding part of your journey with Dublin City today?
I think the most rewarding part really is seeing successes for any of the buskers, you know, the successes that they get, and they'll text me and they say this amazing thing's happened for them or that's happened for them. And it's just seeing them do well and see them up on the stage. Some of them have been on the Late Late Show. Some of them have met their idols,
Yeah.
the people they look up to from it, you know, and yeah, it's just seeing even the little successes for people at buskers, and even seeing buskers who come out and they're really nervous, and to see their confidence grow and to see them develop and to really evolve into really, really good artists, you know. That's the reward for me, you know, is
The most one.
yeah, seeing the growth, you know, and seeing people happy, you know. That's
I'll call this like a charity because you put your time,
yeah.
effort, I would say even life. Because in my opinion, from my observation, whatever you're doing now, you're doing for this platform to grow. Even young things, whatever for yourself, it's still for them.
Yeah.
Because it's helped them to grow, develop, and be visible and develop themselves as a musician. If you think about the role of street musician involving in urban environments like Dublin.
Yeah, I busking has been banned all over Europe for many years, and one of the missions of Dublin City today is to reverse that. You know, so urban across Europe
Yeah.
to bring it back. You know,
Okay.
and that's why I've been trying to change the whole image of busking, because the image of busking used to be old guys in leather gear having a few drinks and just kind of, you know,
Kind of something dirty,
bit
not
stale,
pleasant.
kind of, you know.
Okay.
And that was the image, and that's pretty much why it was banned. It was, they were seen as beggars trying to sing on the streets and stuff like that, you know. And so with Dublin City today, I just kind of showed a whole new, young, fresh, cool, hip, fun side of it, you know. And so that will help bring it back across Europe. So as the urban street music, I think that it's the future, really, is because it's the best. I think if you want to be, I think the best way forward really is to become an independent artist if you can. You know, if you can try and become an independent artist by building your platforms, by monetizing them, and to have that kind of cushion there, so you're not desperate to be signed by somebody. You know,
Yeah.
and like I say, lots of musicians in Dublin are making a really good living just doing gigs and doing busking and having their
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that.
yeah, because like, you know, some people kind of think like you have to become a huge world well-known
Known to make the
superstar
money,
around
yes,
the world
yeah,
to be
yeah.
successful, where you
Yeah.
don't. You can make a very good living, you know,
From what you're doing.
from what
Yeah,
you're doing by
yes.
doing it, you know. So not everybody makes it to be Beyonce or Taylor Swift or whatever, you know,
Yes.
or Ed Sheeran. But there's plenty of people making a really good living doing it also. So, you know, I think to answer your question again about urban and cities, I would love to see it, a wave of street performance right across Europe and America, people coming out. And music is healing. It's the universal language everybody understands around the world, you know. And I think that it gives a city a certain energy, and it kind of loosens people up a bit. So I think it will take off really big over the next 10, 15 years.
Wow. Good plan. I think about the competition. Do you organize any competition type of performance between all of them?
Yeah,
some
well,
of them.
there was somebody had come to me at one point actually, and they wanted to do like a battle of the bands type thing, you know, and I rejected it straight away, because for me, music is about collaboration. It's not about competition.
Competition. Okay,
You
good
know,
point.
and like part of what I do with Dublin City today is I try to get the buskers to collaborate as much as possible. Now I'm like a duet addict. I go up and down Grafton Street. Is there any duets? Any duets? And I'm trying to get them, because it's like, you know, in the world at the moment, there's so much division going on in the world at the moment. You know,
Good.
and
Yeah, this is true.
so I think people enjoy to see people actually working together, collaborating together, having fun together, you know, and relaxing together, and expressing themselves together. So when you see, say, a busker is finishing their set and another is starting their set, and then they just impromptu do a
I
duet
got
together,
you.
you
Yeah.
know, it's kind of special, you know. And so I always try to promote that with the buskers. I even had one, okay, well, it's happened a few times now, but the first time it happened was all of the buskers on the street came together one evening and all actually played together at the same time in the same place.
Wow.
And it was an amazing session, you know, and from that, then it's happened a few more times. So there's so much collaboration within the busking community now that for me, doing any competition kind of goes against that, because it's putting
Yes.
them against each other, you know.
That is true. But if think about the bad stories, because if we have good stories, it's always somewhere the bad stories.
yeah.
So I believe some people who maybe start playing any music like a buskers and on the Grafton Street or whatever else, used to help them to grow, and eventually they give up. Do you have any examples like that, and why people give up eventually, or any other stories?
Yeah, because like, you know, people can go out and they can give their heart and soul into it, you know, and sometimes people don't stop to listen, you know, and it's kind of hard for somebody who's gone to all the trouble to buy all the equipment and get their confidence up, do all the practice, and then go all the way into town, and it could be cold weather. All these things could be going wrong in their day, you know, and they go out and then they don't get any kind of response, and they're kind of thinking, is this worth it? And if that happens enough times, to begin to kind of, oh God, this is, you know, this is hard, you know.
Okay.
And some might get bad experiences, like somebody might shout something at them, or somebody might just take money out of their case and run down the street.
Oh, it's happened too.
Oh, it happens sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah. That will happen too, you know. Or somebody will, they just kind of, they go through the phase where they do it and then just kind of go, oh, I'm just not into it anymore. But then sometimes they come back again, you know, and you know. So yeah, some people do give up, you know, if they realize it's not really for them, you know. But some people are at the stage where they're ready to give up, and then something really amazing happens, and then they're going to go, actually, you know, this is actually really good, you know, or they start getting to know the community that's there, and even though they're having a bad day, they chat to the other buskers, and the other buskers is telling them, yeah, listen, man, we've all had those days, don't worry about it, you're grand. So
if you go by the percentage, how many people give up?
Not that many, really. I'd say probably about 20%.
Out of 100.
Yeah, you know. And they're kind of, it's like a conveyor belt, you know. There's always new people coming, and sometimes, you know, buskers, they can be there for a while, or they might move to a different city, or they might end up, they're just too busy because they're going to college, or they might have to go and get a full-time job, you know. So, you know, there could be all sorts of reasons why they'll give up, you know.
But I believe you're the one who support them mentally and give advice, and just you're the one who believe in them. And telling them, listen, you have to believe in yourself, start doing this and that, I'm here behind your back, and just start moving to something. But if thinking from this point, what advice you would give to new people who would like to step in this field?
For anybody who wants to come in and start with busking, I would say the most important thing, really, I would say, is to make sure you have a good amp, have good sound, you know, because you're going to break your own heart, because there's so many buskers that do have good amps and good quality sound. That's what you're going to be competing against, you know. If somebody's walking up the street and the sound isn't great, and it's a cheap amp, it's really difficult to get people to stop, you know. And that over time begins to break your own heart, you know. And like buying a decent amp, the amp will pay for itself many times over, you know, because I've seen buskers come out with a bad amp, and just get depressed, and then they go and buy a good amp, and suddenly they're a whole new busker, and they're just, it's like the best thing they ever did. You know, every single busker who gets a good amp always says it's the best decision they made was to change the amp, you know. So rule number one, sort out the amp, you know.
Okay.
And
Next?
Next I would say is just come out to have fun, you know. And
Enjoy yourself.
Enjoy yourself. If you're coming out just to make money, you kind of, I've seen it with many buskers, you kind of get bored with it, you know. There's the passion isn't really there, you know.
Okay.
So I would say just rule number one really is get a decent amp, you know, and just be confident with yourself, you know. Go out there and practice, get good, you know. And like confidence comes from practice by getting good, you know.
Yes.
And the better you get at something, the more confident you're going to be, you know.
Sure.
And so I would just say practice, keep practicing, get a good amp, and just come out and do it.
Okay.
You know, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can, you know, and believe in yourself, you know. But main rule, get a good amp.
Okay. The main one, whatever. You're talented, remember that. Just get new, proper equipment to
proper equipment, but it doesn't have to be the
represent
most
yourself.
It doesn't have to be the most expensive or anything, you know.
But a good quality.
But decent quality, you know. I just say there's certain amps that you just want to get away from, and I hate to put them down, but Cube, don't buy a Cube. What camera am I looking at? This one over here. Do not buy a Cube. Sorry, Cube, but you make terrible amps.
Right, and the last question I would love to cover up, how people can find you. So if they go on YouTube channel, Dublin City Today. So if anybody, musician, talented lady, boys, will contact you directly there, or it's better find any other source to contact you?
Yeah, the best way really is to come out onto the street. I'll find them. Like if they come out onto Grafton Street.
Who's afraid just come up on the Grafton Street and start sitting, or how they can find you?
Well,
send the message.
If people want to contact me, sorry, they can just dublincitytoday@gmail.com. You know, they
all
can,
there.
Yeah,
okay.
It's in the about section of the channel, so they can just email me again, dublincitytoday@gmail.com. And if they have any inquiries, want to ask me anything, they can do that. You know.
Okay, fantastic.
If they want to be on the feature on the channel, the best way is just to come out onto Grafton Street. You can even send me an email, let me know you're going to be coming out or whatever, and we can meet up and I'll give it a listen. And if it's the sound is good enough, we'll get you on. Even if the sound is not good enough, I'll still meet and chat and give you a few pointers or whatever, you know.
Fantastic. Sean, thank you very much. I had fantastic chit chat with you, and I believe today's episode will helpful for everybody who very talented and really passionate about what they're doing, and you will support them. And remember, guys, dublincitytoday@gmail.com is correct. So if you send your request on this email, Sean will back to you and help you as much as he can.
Absolutely.
So, but we're not finished. I have a few questions, okay?
Excellent.
Just for fun.
Yeah, brilliant.
The question I'll ask you, it just relieve our brain from what we did chat and have a little bit laugh. So it will be false and true questions, okay?
Okay.
So the Granny Smith's apple originates from Australia, true or false?
That's a good question. Granny Smith's Australia.
It's Australia or...
I'd say true.
True, well done.
Yeah, it does.
Limes float, lemons sink. False or true?
False.
Limes, false, well done. Bananas are available in colors other than yellow.
True.
Well done. Bananas grow upside down. True or false?
False. Or is it true? Is it true?
It's true.
Is it
It's
true?
true,
You
yeah.
go upside down.
Upside down.
Suppose,
Whatever.
okay,
They're not growing
right.
up. They're growing down,
going
actually. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
The first tea bags were made from linen.
The which tea? The first tea
The
bags?
first tea bag.
Were made from linen. I would imagine they probably could have been. Yeah.
False.
False.
Oh, I don't know. I actually didn't check
Okay,
this.
right, yeah. That's
Mushrooms needs sunlight to grow.
false.
False. And one few more
Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
about the cars. Let's go about the cars. Do you like cars?
Yeah.
Music. Oh, music.
Let's do music. Yeah, let's go.
Madonna's real name is Madonna. True or false?
I think that's True.
True.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Taylor Swift's first job was on the Christmas tree farm. Taylor Swift's first job.
False.
Not true.
True, is it?
Her first job
I
was
suppose it was
on
so
the
random, it has to be
Christmas
true.
tree farm. And last one. The Beatles were Ringo, Paul, George, and James. False or true?
False.
False. Correct.
No, James.
You know that well.
Who's James?
Sean, thank you very much. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Me
It was
too.
my pleasure to have you over. King of Ireland was in the studio. Stay
Thank you
with
so
me.
much.
I'm Tanya Corliss. I love you. Bye.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.